we're going to talk about the top 10 PvP tips to take your gameplay to the next level. We're going to start with the fundamental knowledge you need in order to get better, in order to destroy your enemies. The first tip that we're going to take a closer look at is going to be the radar. And let me tell you, in this game, you got to be looking at that radar 24/7. I know it sounds easy, but a lot of people do not do this, especially new players or people who pretty much moved away from the game for a long time and now we're just hopping back in. The muscle memory is just not there. If you want to get better at this game, you got to be able to keep your eyes on the radar a lot. So if you're in an encounter, boom, you win your 1v1, look at the radar, identify where your enemy is right away, and then get ready for that second encounter. This is not like some other games that do not have this kind of radar up. In Destiny, it's there pretty much 24/7. So I want you to look at the radar every few seconds. You have to turn it into a habit. Your survivability is going to go up. You're not going to get flanked all the time. And overall, your gameplay will just become better. I do have a separate video on this where I go over what I like to call the 3-second rule. And this simple rule will change the way you play. So if you're interested, make sure to check that video out. I'll drop the link in the description. That's going to be tip number 1. And we're going to move on to tip number 2. And this really ties well with the radar tip that I just went over, and that's going to be awareness. But you need to understand that your teammates are a great source of information for you to understand where your enemies are. So for example, as we know in Destiny 2, if somebody's crouching, they're much harder to spot on the radar. And let's say you're moving to this area, your teammate is right over there, and boom, he's suddenly dead. You got to be able to read the situation, so this way you're aware that your enemy player is somewhere around this area, most likely crouched right there. He hasn't moved for the last 45 minutes. But now, because you are paying attention to your teammate's location, you know exactly where they are. So you're not just going to walk in there like this, not expecting anything, but you're going to go in guns blazing. You know they're there, and it's going to make your fight much easier. So once again, don't just use the radar to locate your enemies. Understand and look at where your teammates are and use that as a source of information on the location of your enemies. That can save your life more than you know. And not just that, awareness also means a lot of things. You got to listen to the sound cues. You got to be able to look at the radar a lot. It's a combination of things that will simply make you a better player with time. And it's all about understanding your surroundings. And the more you're going to play, the more you're going to develop all these habits. Also, map knowledge falls into awareness, right? Because if you don't know the maps really well enough, that means that you're not going to know all the lanes where you could be potentially shot from. And overall, all of these things are going to make you way more at this game, and it's going to help your survivability. You're going to be getting higher kill games and all that kind of stuff. Now, let's move on to the next tip. And once again, we're talking about fundamentals here. So as long as you master these, you're going to build up your knowledge of the game, and you're simply going to take it to the next level. And tip number 3 that ties really well into tip number 2, which comes with awareness and the radar, is going to be movement. Movement is extremely important pretty much in any PvP game, to be honest, but especially in Destiny 2, because there's just so many ways in this game to get around the map, to get out of some crazy situations. And once you master all of those things, you're able to up your survivability insanely. If you just walk around like this and this is all you do, and like once every 25 minutes you do this, this is not going to save you. This is not good for you, and this makes the enemy's life much easier when he's playing against you. Instead, what you want to do, if you're a new player, just hop into a private match. Even if you're a returning player, you want to hop in and you want to master your movement. If you're a Titan, get used to the melees, right? Learn how to steal ammo from your enemies. Let me show an example of that. For example, if there's an ammo brick right there, but you're afraid to just go in and pick it up like a bot, you don't want to just walk up and pick it up. Instead, what you want to do is kind of slide in, turn it around, and get out of there, and stuff like that. And once you master your class, you're just going to be so much better. And as I said, survivability goes up, higher kill games come in, and so on. If you are a warlock, master that momentum movement with your jumps. If you're a hunter, don't forget to slide in, take a shot, and then dodge back out. And there's just so much more with every class. And by the way, I have in-depth movement guides for Titan and Warlock at the moment. when it comes to blink for the warlock, and then when it comes to the melee usage, and some little tricks and tips that you can use for both of those classes in general. I'm gonna drop the link to those videos in the description, and in the future I'll probably be making one for the hunter as well. Let's move on to the next tip, and that's gonna be positioning. And this is honestly one of the most important tips in this game, because a lot of people in trials, especially, and Mosaic competitive also, like to just walk around in the open like this, and they're like, oh man, how did I die? But the truth is, if you really want to take advantage of this game and make most of your 1v1s, 1v2s, and even 1v3s, you got to be around some kind of cover at all times. So instead of running out in the open and always challenging in this situation, instead, if you know your enemy's over there, you want to be challenging from here, right? And that way, if you're losing the fight, all you got to do is, boom, slightly move to your right, and you're good to go. You're surviving more. Obviously, you're waiting for your recovery, and then you're hopping back into the fight right away. So once again, you take a shot, you're losing the fight, you hide, you're hurt, you heal up, and now you're ready to go. But if you're doing the same thing here, and if your enemy's right over there, now guess what? He has the cover, you're staying in the open, and you're pretty much dead. So pay attention to that. Even when you're moving around the map, right? You don't want to move like this. What you want to do is move from cover to cover. So boom, get over here. Now you have this cover over here. You're watching this lane. If you move over here, now you have cover, and now you can watch this area right here, or even this angle, right? And then you can back off a little bit, or take this one right here, the left side, in order to watch this lane. So there's always some kind of cover that you can find in order to have more survivability, instead of just running around like an absolute madman in the open and dying every 3 or 4 seconds. So keep that in mind. Let's move on to the next tip, ladies and gents, and that's gonna be stop re-peeking. And so many people do this in trials and competitive when I'm playing, where I'm looking right over here, right? They peek, I missed my first shot, and I'm just waiting right over here, and all you see is just the enemy just literally just bot walks into your shot, you headshot them, and then you get a message, you're a cheater. Well, the reality is no, it's not true. You just walk into lanes like a zombie, and it's a very easy kill to get. So once you see that shot that a sniper takes, do not re-peek at the exact same position. You're making your enemy's life much easier. You're giving them an easy kill, and you're giving them super energy, which might cost you the game in most like trials and comp, okay? So keep that in mind. Do not re-peek. Instead, what you gotta do is the next tip that we're gonna talk about right here, which is gonna be unpredictable plays. Once again, it's very simple. If you're sniping over there, right? And if you peek once, it's very natural for me to wait for you right here. Even if I know that you have a pattern to jump out, right? Or slide out. It's very rare that you see somebody waiting for a peek like this. Nobody does this. Everybody waits here. And then, yes, they might flick this way or flick this way for the slide. But the point is, this is the easiest spot for me to get a kill. And if you're walking into it, it's easy peasy. So yes, sometimes you want to slide out. Sometimes you want to jump out. Or in this case, if I'm challenging someone from here, I damage them, they move behind cover. Now I have a chance to change my position. Boom, I can jump up here, right? And if I do so, they're expecting me right over here, but instead, I'm in a different position. Or you can go up here and even go for a bigger flank and get that kill from here. And you will be surprised that a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, stay ADS'd way too long. And I mean way too long, and they get flanked all the time. So you might go for a flank like that, and even though the radar is up, people just stay ADS like this for like 5, 10, 15 seconds, which is a huge mistake, by the way. And then once you walk up on them, they're just staying. They have no information on the radar, so they're just standing there. Boom, you're getting an easy kill. So don't be afraid to play unpredictable, move around, not stay in the same spot, and don't peek from the same exact positions 24/7, okay? Let's move on to the next one, and tip number 7 is gonna be for the people that want to learn how to win 1v2s and 1v3s. It's all about separating your enemies, and then do not re-challenge once you're hurt. That is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, guys, okay? So if you're in that 1v2, for example, boom, you win this 1v1 right here, and then instead of moving away, healing up, right, taking the better position, fully healing, and then re-engaging, a lot of people get that 1v1, and then get back into the fight right away, even though they're probably like 20% HP or 10% HP, right? You don't want to do that. Don't ego challenge like that. Make sure to play patient, play smart, and then turn that 1v3 or 1v2 into separate 1v1s. That will be a game changer, and you're going to start winning way more 1v2 and 1v3 encounters pretty much overall. So yes, that is the best way to win those. And as soon as you master that and understand that's what you got to do, you're going to be winning way more. Now let's move on to the final 3 tips. And at number 8, we're going to have callouts. Now guys, listen to me. I can't explain to you how many teams, and I mean really good teams, suck at callouts. Now, let me explain what I mean by just having bad callouts too, because not all callouts are good. So some people are like this, right? They get into a 1v1, they get absolutely shredded. They pretty much maybe hit 1 bullet. That guy's almost full shields, everything. And then they go, oh, one shot, right? And then what happens is because of your bad call out, your teammate pushes in. He thinks that that guy is one shot. He's just rushing in, flying in there, guns blazing. Because in his head, it's like 1 bullet and that guy's dead, right? But instead, he meets a guy with full shields and over shield. His teammates are right behind him, sitting there with like heavy machine guns. So do not confuse your teammates, okay? Don't do that because you want to feel better about yourself because you just made a mistake, right? Say exactly how it is. This amount of damage, only 30 damage, I'm dead. He's full shields. If that's the information you need to give to your teammate, give them that information. Don't make silly callouts and just don't straight up lie. And not only that, a lot of people also panic. So what happens is, right, they die, and a lot of people like to do this. They go, res me. And it's like a non-stop like panic attack. Do not do that. Don't be that guy, okay? What you want to do in that situation, and this is what I do in trials pretty much all the time. If I get taken out and if I see that my, res is available, I literally go, my res is right there if you need it. If not, don't worry about it. And that's it. After that, in a very calm manner, without screaming and panicking, give them the information they need, such as enemy position, what weapon they are holding. Let your teammate know if the enemy is going for a res, and so on. That's all you got to do. Number 9 is gonna be one of the most important things in Destiny 2, or should I say in every video game, or hey, I'm gonna go as far as say in life too, and it's accountability. Those excuses that you make aren't always right, and most of the time you can fix your mistakes, and probably not every death is because that guy is cheating or that guy is the best player in the world or so on. Sometimes it's your mistakes. Sometimes, as we went over some other tips, you're ego challenging, you're re-peeking from the same spot, you're not in a good position, and it's just an easy kill for your enemy. As soon as you manage to develop accountability for yourself, you're going to be a better player. You're going to start identifying the mistakes that you're making all the freaking time, which means that you're going to have the ability to fix those mistakes. And as soon as you fix mistakes, you simply become a better player. So be real with yourself, guys. Look at the situation and see what you could have done better. And as soon as you identify that, just fix it. That's all you got to do. Stop blaming the whole world. It doesn't matter. You can't control it. What you can control is your plays and your decision making. So focus on that. And the final thing I want to tell you today for tip number 10 is stay calm, stay focused. And this is the biggest difference between an average player, a good player, and then from a good player to a very good player. And trust me when I tell you, I've seen a lot of, and I mean a lot of very, very highly skilled players just fold under tension and not perform when it's their time to shine in those 1v1s, in their game 7, in that round 9 of trials when it's you and that guy. A lot of even really good players struggle with that. They panic, they throw grenades at the wall, they start hopping into walls, they did walking into corners. There's a lot of stuff that happens once you start panicking. So the best thing you want to do in order to get good at this and start controlling your emotions, honestly, it's about putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations today so that you feel more and more comfortable tomorrow and the day after. So if you want to get better at these 1v1s and 1v2s, right? Play Rumble instead of 6s, because 6s creates these bad habits, to be honest, mindlessly just rushing and running in a line, while in Rumble you create these 1v1, 1v2 situations more often, and you have the ability to get better. Once you do get in those 1v1s, take a step back. If it's one of those moments and you are getting that adrenaline rush, even though it's just a game, it happens to a lot of people, take a step back, just take a breath and believe in yourself and go for it. Just try to stay focused and cold-blooded, and don't follow those emotions right away. Those are going to be the top 10 tips that really helped me become a better player. Trust me, you follow all these tips, you will become a better player and you'll see a huge increase in your KD, kill count, all the kind of stuff, and you're simply going to start enjoying the game way more. If you guys did enjoy this video, and only if you did, slap the like button, subscribe to the channel. As always, ladies and gentlemen, never forget to share the positive energy all around. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I mean, we literally have the best community of all time. Oh! Oh, we got no scopes!